Okay, today's video is going to be on figuring out our seeding rate. Now, like I said in the last video, our goal is a targeted plant population in July, a nice uniform stand. We have to figure out how many plants per square foot is our goal, and then work backwards to figure out our seeding rate. Now, our plant population, when we view it in July, what we're looking for is a uniform stand. So when we talk about a uniform stand, if we take that back to the emergence level stage, it's everything that came out of the ground within 30 hours of each other. When you have a uniform stand, then all your plants are at the same stage, and this creates a smaller window for diseases to enter into those plants throughout the various times of the year. Whether the disease is caused by a bug or by some environmental damage, what happens when you're at all the same stage is that your window for that disease to enter is smaller than if you have various stages of your plants, in which case your window is open and a larger chance of getting these diseases. The uniform stand also helps with weed control, and when you have those slow plants that are later stages, they don't contribute to yield. They still take up sunshine, moisture, nutrients out of your soil, and they're actually worse than a weed because they won't die with chemical. So we want to try to get all our plants. So the best way to achieve that uniform plant stand is with your air seeder. This is a typical seed placement. It's a beautiful drawing, I know, but let's say this is an inch below. This is typical of an air seeder, some close together, some lower than others, some higher. So what are the chances that 100% of these seeds are going to emerge within 30 hours of each other? I've had this up in my office for a couple of years. Some guys hopefully have seen it. When you're traveling 4.1 miles per hour, average seed depth is 3/4 of an inch down, and the range is 0.5 to 1 1/4 inches deep. Now when you go all the way up to 6.2 miles per hour, the average depth is 1.5 inches, and the range is from 0 to 3 inches. Speed with your air seeder is huge. Also, the other thing to consider is the fan speed that you're blowing that seed in. So if you're cutting a V into the soil and you're shooting that seed down, so you're shooting it down with air and you're traveling at 8 miles an hour, what is the chance that after that millisecond when the soil covers it, that it's settled in the bottom of your trough? Very, very low chance of that happening. So if you slow down and you slow your air seeder fan speed down so that it's not bouncing as much and rolling ahead as much. So at 6.2 miles per hour, this test got 4.8 plants per square feet. Nowhere near our target for canola. At 4.1 miles per hour with the same seeding rate at the same depth, it got 9.6 plants, right in the middle of our target. So what target plant population are we shooting for? In wheat, MAFRE has a recommendation of 23 to 28 plants per square feet. And in their most recent surveys, they're talking about 30 to 35 plants per square feet. Barley, 22 to 25. Oats, 18 to 23. Canola, 7 to 11. Soybeans, 180,000 to 210,000. Corn, 32,000 to 35,000. These are per acre. Now these are MAFRE's recommendations. Typically in oats, I would like to see as high as that, or maybe higher, because the heavier stand you have, the better it is for weed control. And as you know, with oats, there's no weed control. Soybeans, we've always been recommending to have a plant stand of that 180 or a little bit below. So we've been shooting a little on the low side for soybeans. So to figure out your seeding rate, so we're trying to figure out our seeding rate. We pick our plant population, our target, we times it by our 1,000 kernel weight. 1,000 kernel weight is the weight of 1,000 kernels. So this year in wheat, it's 31.5 grams for 1,000 kernels. Your expected survivability times 10. So, as an example, in wheat, 30 to 35 is what we're shooting for our target plant population. You do the calculation, 111 pounds per acre, 35, 129 pounds per acre. So last year, our seed to get the same population would have been 123 to 143 pounds. Our seed wheat this year is smaller kernels because of the heat last year. So we're getting more kernels per pound, so our seeding recommendation is lower this year. So if we use the Manitoba average for survivability, this year our recommendations for wheat is 1.85 to 2.15 bushels per acre. Barley, we're still recommending about 0 bushels per acre, which would get your target plant population of 0, which is what I'm recommending. Oats, 2.46 to 3.14. Like I said, we always are shooting for the higher plant population in oats. If you have an issue, a field with an issue, I'd even be shooting higher. Canola, 5.3 to 8.3 pounds per acre. This is using the Manitoba average for survivability. That can change a lot depending on your air seeder and the speed that you're driving with your air seeder. If you can get your seeds to be even depth, you can reduce this quite a bit. Soybeans with a planter, 200,000 to 233,000. That's based on Maffrey's recommendation of 180,000 plants per acre to 210 plants per acre. Soybeans with an air seeder, 257 to 300,000. Again, we've always been recommending 225,000 and 180,000. We've always been recommending on the low side. And last year, our soybeans was the first year that we had a decent year for soybeans, and we had a lot of plants and people telling us that their plants had 70, 80 pods per plant, which is a clear indicator that we have too low of a plant population. So survivability is something that we have to guess at before when we're trying to determine our seeding rate. So there are the things that we do, like this, that these plants don't have a chance, so we include those as mortalities. There's some seeds that don't have germ, that won't come up, and then there's environment stresses that will create some survivability issues. Vigor in your seed will help those environmental stresses. Seed treatments will help those environmental stresses. Soil temperature is huge. If the soil temperature is warm, the chances of those kernels all becoming plants and emerging within 30 hours is a much higher chance. Setting your planter, your air seeder, the proper depth, and going slow and lowering your fan speed also improves survivability. So, best of luck seeding, have a safe season, and I'll be back after, hopefully in a field. It's going to be perfect the first try. Hi everybody, today we're going to talk about seeding rate and trying to figure out our seeding rate on this. I don't know.
No, I am.
Maybe it's the point is you slow down your speed and slow down your air fan to try to avoid the lower ones, the higher ones. You're never going to be able to avoid the two together because it's blowing down a tube. You can't do anything about that. But if you can even out this depth, then something very good is happening. That kind of made sense. So we're going to move on to what. So what is our? I really don't know. It's a mess. I don't think we have any usable data. I think you could shut that off.